There's an old saying, you've probably heard it, that goes something like, it's best to be careful about both your enemies and your friends, since friends can become enemies.
Right. It's one of those things you kind of nod along to.
Exactly. A bit of cynical wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we're unpacking a story where that isn't just a warning. It is the entire terrifying plot.
We're looking at a case out of Sydney, Australia, that really, it fundamentally changes how you look at the phone in your hand. This is a story about the ghost in the machine.
We're doing a deep dive into the tragic life and death of Renae Marsden. Mm-hmm. And to really get this, you have to understand who Renae was. We've got stacks of police statements and family interviews here. And she was, by all accounts, just the kind of person who lit up a room.
Absolutely. She was in her early 20s, working as a hairdresser and administrator, and she was incredibly close with her family, especially her mom, Teresa.
Yeah.
And Teresa described her as joyful and just, tender-hearted, not someone who looked for conflict, a gentle soul. And that tenderness, unfortunately, is what made her so vulnerable.
Right. Vulnerable to the specific type of predator we're going to be talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
So the trouble started, as it so often does, with a heartbreak. Renae had been seeing a guy named Angus. They were coworkers, fell in love, were planning a future, you know, the whole 9 yards.
And then, just completely out of the blue, Angus drops a bomb.
A huge one. He texted her saying he'd been, and this is a quote, using her, that he wasn't ready for a relationship and wanted to see other women.
That is just a devastating blow for anyone, let alone a sensitive young woman like Renae. And she just withdrew completely. She stopped eating, stopped going outside.
She basically retreated into her bedroom, hiding under a blanket. She was in a state of, well, profound emotional shock.
And this is where the savior enters the picture.
Her high school best friend, a woman named Camila Zidan. Camila sees Renae suffering, and she swoops in. She's a supportive friend, right? We're telling Renae, you need to get back out there. You need a rebound.
And she just happens to have the perfect guy in mind.
Enter Brayden Spiteri.
Brayden Spiteri.
Now, on paper, or I guess on screen, Brayden sounds like a catch. Camila told Renae he was actually her ex-boyfriend, but they broke up because they just weren't, compatible.
But for Renae, Camila insisted he was perfect.
And look at the profile that Camila built for him. I mean, this wasn't just, hey, meet my friend. This was pure character creation.
Oh, absolutely. He was 23, a graduate of a prestigious Royal Academy, wealthy family, successful construction business, handsome. He was designed to be the complete opposite of Angus, the guy who just dumped her.
He was stable, successful, and according to Camila, totally ready for commitment.
Renae was a little hesitant at first, still hurting, but she started texting Brayden.
And that connection was apparently electric. They were texting day and night. Renae told her mom she felt like he was her soulmate.
A soulmate she'd never even met.
Never met, never even spoken to on the phone.
Yeah.
It's this deep spiritual connection happening entirely through text messages.
That's the power of that digital void, isn't it? When you don't have the actual person in front of you, you project all of your hopes, all your desires, onto the words on the screen. Renae was falling in love with a mirror of her own needs.
But there was a catch. There's always a catch.
Always.
He was impossible to meet. Every single time they set up a date, something would happen. He was unavailable. Then, in early 2012, Renae goes on a 2-week family cruise. No cell service.
And when she gets back, the entire narrative shifts dramatically.
This is where the manipulation goes from, standard catfishing to something much, much darker. Almost like a psychological thriller script.
Right. So Brayden tells her that while she was away, he was in a motorcycle accident.
A fatal one.
A fatal one, yeah. A friend died, and because Brayden was technically in charge of the vehicle, he was being charged with the death.
And the result of that, he's sentenced to 2 years in Goulburn Correctional Center.
It is a tactical masterstroke of manipulation. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Why can't we meet? Because I'm in prison. Why can't I call you freely? Prison rules. It provides this logical, unassailable reason for his physical absence.
And it locks Renae into a waiting game.
Totally. And she decides to stand by him. She's going to wait the 2 years.
So now you have this young woman completely in love with a man she can't see, who is allegedly sitting in a maximum security jail cell. But even from behind bars, Brayden's control over her life starts to escalate. And this is where it gets really twisted.
He somehow gets access to illicit phones inside, so the texting continues constantly, but he refuses visitation.
Which is strange.
Very. He told Renae he wanted to save his freedom for her 21st birthday, but then he makes a request that should have been a massive, massive red flag.
He told Renae that since he couldn't be there to satisfy her sensual needs, she should turn to her best friend, to Camila.
This is such a critical moment. The boyfriend, Brayden, is explicitly directing Renae toward Camila physically. He said he wouldn't mind. He practically encouraged it.
And Renee's response?
She said no, politely. She told him, I'm heterosexual, I'm waiting for no. She wasn't interested in women, and she certainly wasn't interested in her best friend that way.
But Camila was obsessed with the idea. She kept probing Renae, asking things like, what did Brayden say? Did he talk about your needs? What are you going to do?
It goes so far beyond supportive friend territory, it's predatory.
And Camila's behavior started getting scary. We're talking about a possessiveness that rivals a stalker. She was jealous of the time Renae spent with her own mother.
And then there was this one evening. Camila called Renae 54 times.
54 times in one night.
And when Renae didn't answer or tried to set a boundary, Camila just escalated. She showed up at Renae's house, started a fight, screaming at her.
And in the middle of this huge argument, Camila tries to force a kiss on Renae.
Renae pushes her away, rejects her, again. Makes it crystal clear, I am not interested.
You would think that would be the end of the friendship, right? But the manipulation was coming from two sides. You have Camila on one side and you have Brayden on the other.
Exactly. It's a pincer movement. When Renae would try to distance herself from Camila, Brayden would step in via text. He'd guilt her. He'd say things like, you need to forgive her. She's the only one who supports us.
She was completely trapped between the abuser and the abuser's alter ego.
And it worked. The manipulation worked. Renae was so committed to this phantom Brayden that she actually went to a tattoo parlor.
And she got Brayden Spiteri tattooed on the right side of her chest.
That's a brand. That is a mark of ownership. She was marking her body for a man who did not exist.
But the cracks, they were starting to show. Renae's family, especially Teresa, they were getting really suspicious. And Renae, bless her, was trying to live something of a normal life. She actually started dating a real flesh and blood man named Ian.
This is a fascinating disruption in the pattern. Ian was everything Brayden wasn't. Present, polite, calm. He was a coworker. The Marsdens loved him. They thought, okay, finally a fresh start.
But the ghost in the machine was always watching. Renae posted a selfie in a hotel room on social media. Just a normal picture. But in the background, you could see a pair of men's shoes.
And Brayden exploded. He spotted those shoes and just unleashed this torrent of abuse, accused her of cheating. He threatened Ian directly.
He somehow got Ian's contact information and started harassing him. I mean, can you imagine being Ian in this situation?
Yeah, you're just dating this lovely girl, and suddenly you're getting threats from her convict boyfriend who's supposedly locked up in Goulburn.
But Renae was so deep in the fog. Brayden used every trick in the book to keep her tethered to him.
It's classic gaslighting, classic emotional blackmail. When the threats didn't work, he'd switch to pity. Suddenly, his mother had a brain tumor.
Oh, of course.
Or he'd been attacked in the prison yard and was badly hurt. He made Renae feel that if she left him, she was abandoning this poor, dying, suffering man.
It's the cycle of abuse. Plain and simple, punishment, then pity, then affection. But in the summer of 2013, things really reached a breaking point. Camila went away on a trip to the USA.
And Renae used that physical distance to gain some clarity. With Camila gone, that immediate pressure was off. Renae realized the friendship was toxic.
And she sent Camila a message basically saying, we are done. If I see you, we are strangers.
Good for her.
Finally cutting the cord. But look at the timing. The moment, the absolute moment Renae cuts off Camila, what happens with Brayden?
He goes silent.
Total radio silence.
Yeah.
He tells her he has a hearing for early release and can't contact her.
So now Renae is completely isolated, no best friend, and the love of her life is gone. She's just anxious, waiting, sending him these heartfelt texts, just begging for a sign of life.
She was dangling over a precipice,
Yeah.
and the person holding the rope had just let go.
That brings us to August 5th, 2013, the day of the tragedy. It started with a text to her mom, Teresa, a goodbye text.
Teresa knew instantly something was horribly wrong. She called Renae no answer. She called Camila no answer.
Then in a panic, Teresa calls Camila again, and Camila suggests looking at Brayden's sister's house.
Another lie. Just another wild goose chase to buy time.
But the police eventually found Renae's car. It was parked at Watson's Bay, near the cliffs. The Gap. It's a notorious spot in Sydney.
And what they found in the car, it just breaks your heart.
An unused cell phone from 2 months before. A Valentine's card from Brayden. And on the dusty window of the car, Renae had scratched the words, I love you, Brayden.
The CCTV footage from that day is just chilling. It shows Renae walking to the edge. She hops over the safety fence. She stops. She looks down. And then she pulls out her phone.
And the forensic analysis of that phone traffic is the key to this entire tragedy. That day, Renae sent 91 texts to Brayden.
91?
91 messages of desperation, of love, of panic, and she received nothing back until the very, very end.
Just moments before she jumped, Brayden finally replied. And he didn't say, I love you. He didn't say, don't do it.
No, he texted her saying he needed space and was breaking up with her.
It was the final shove. Physically, she was alone on that cliff.
Yes.
But psychologically, she was being pushed. She threw her phone into the water, and then she followed it. Her body was never found.
The family was destroyed. Renae's dad, Mark, he even went to the prison to confront Brayden Spiteri.
And that's when the first domino fell. The prison officials told him there is no inmate named Brayden Spiteri here.
So the police start pulling on these digital threads. They look at the text messages, and they notice something. Linguistic, the grammar, the spelling errors, the sentence structures in Brayden's texts.
They were identical to Camila's.
Identical. They also noticed the mood mirroring. If Camila was fighting with Renae, Brayden was suddenly angry. If Camila was happy, Brayden was loving.
So they execute a search warrant on Camila Zidan's home, and there it was, the smoking gun. Or the smoking phones, I guess.
They found the phones used to play the character of Brayden. They found a torn letter from Renae to Brayden. They found a letter from Camila thanking Renae for introducing her to her soulmate. It was a house of cards, and it had all just collapsed.
And the photo, the face of the handsome architect.
A total stranger. A man named Cameron, whose identity had just been stolen from social media. He had no idea his face was being used to psychologically torture this poor woman.
So the family's sitting there, grieving the loss of their daughter, and they have to process this insane reality. The best friend and the soulmate were the same person. Camila was Brayden. Brayden was Camila.
It's a betrayal of, almost biblical proportions. Renae died believing Brayden was real. She died for a fiction.
And you'd expect the police to just slap handcuffs on Camila right then and there. Manslaughter, fraud, something.
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
And this is where the legal system just failed the Marsden family completely. At the time, in New South Wales, catfishing itself was not a crime.
You're kidding?
Nope. Unless there was financial fraud, unless she'd scammed Renae out of money, the police couldn't touch her. Emotional fraud, no matter how lethal, it just wasn't on the books.
That is infuriating. She drove a woman to suicide with this calculated web of lies, and because she didn't ask for a bank transfer, it's not a crime.
Essentially, yes. It wasn't until years later, in 2020, that an inquest was finally held. And this is where we finally hear Camila's side of the story, because she was granted immunity to testify.
And her defense was something else.
It was shocking. She claimed that she and Renae were actually secret lovers.
Wow.
Yeah. She spun this whole narrative that Brayden was a beard, a cover story they created together because Renae's family wouldn't accept a gay relationship. She tried to rewrite history.
But the evidence doesn't support that at all, does it?
Not even a little bit. We have Renae's letters. We have her dating Ian, a real boyfriend. We have the incident where she physically rejected Camila's kiss.
And the most damning thing of all, if they were secret lovers and Brayden was just a cover, why send that cruel breakup text right before she died?
Exactly. That text was designed to hurt. It was designed to punish. That is not the action of a partner. That is the action of an abuser who is losing control.
And let's not forget, she left a suicide note, essentially, for Brayden. If he was a fake character she helped create, why would you scratch "I love you, Brayden" on your car window in your final moments? It makes no sense.
The coroner didn't buy her story either. But because of the immunity and the lack of applicable laws from 2013, Camila Zidan faced 0 criminal consequences.
And where is she now?
She's married to a man. She has a child. She just moved on. She's living the life that Renae Marsden was denied.
It just leaves this bitter taste in your mouth. A young woman is dead, a family is shattered, and the architect of it all just walked away.
It highlights a massive gap in our understanding of what harm is. We have laws for physical assault. We have laws for stealing money. But we're still catching up to the reality that you can destroy a person mentally and physically without ever laying a hand on them.
It really makes you question how much of our emotional lives we're entrusting to these screens. We pour our hearts into these devices, believing there's a real human on the other end who cares. But sometimes it's just a ghost. And sometimes that ghost is dangerous.
And it forces us to ask, if psychological fraud can be just as lethal as physical violence, why does the law still sometimes treat it like a prank?
That is a question we're going to have to leave you with today. It's a heavy one, but it's one we need to think about as we live more and more of our lives online. Take care of yourselves, and maybe check in on your friends today, face to face.
Absolutely. Stay safe.
We'll catch you in the next deep dive.